So in terms of like firing, I think a lot of people they get to this mindset where they're like, well, I've already went through all this work of hiring them, and maybe they'll turn it around. I want to give them another chance. Give them another chance, right? You're constantly giving them another chance. Um, for me, there are certain things that we look for that are are signs that it's not about giving more chances. It's like a character flaw or it's a work flaw, right? It's making mistakes is one thing. So we always expect that people are going to make mistakes, and we are, not that we're okay with it, right? Nobody should be okay with mistakes, but we understand they happen, and it's not grounds for firing somebody or saying this person's not quality enough and we need to let them go. Now there are certain things like the way that a media buyer will communicate in Slack channels with vendors of ours, with brands. These certain things where their communication skills or the way they talk to people, those are red flags we look for. That if we see things like that happen more than once, we're like, this is probably not a good fit, just culture wise. Because skills can be developed, right? We can always teach people and develop more skills, but there are certain like who you are as a person and how you handle yourself and your attitude, and your habits that are really hard to change. So those are things we look for to terminate on. The other one is like, and this is a big one that a lot of people should look for, is not just media buyers, but any employee, people that are always, when they have a question, their first instinct is to go right to you and ask you the question. We've had several people over the last year or two that have worked with us, and I would get tons of Slack messages every day from them. And I would say 85% of those messages easily could have been answered, either by them just Googling it or by asking other team members. But they were direct messaging me constantly, right? And that's not something as an owner of a company you need to be dealing with, like answering questions that are basic or questions that don't need me personally to answer them, right? There are certain things that you may need me to answer personally, but most don't. And so that's another one where if you have somebody that just is constantly not using other resources but dependent on you, that's another flag. Like we usually, like, that doesn't change. We'll give people like one warning on that, like, hey, we tell people up front when we hire them, like, this is what we want you to do. But if they don't listen to it, we give kind of one, hey, you keep asking us questions, like, we need you to figure this out on your own or work with the team to figure this out. That's something we also look for. And then another big one that we've fired some people over is not following directions, right? And this is sounds like obvious, but there's a lot of people out there who, like, they get tasks, but they feel they have a better idea, or they want to do something bigger, more creative, right? They're unable to follow specific directions and accomplish specific tasks in time frames. That's another kind of character trait that is very hard to break, and the people that have had that problem have never been able to change. Like, we've brought it up multiple times, and some people we've left on too long because we thought they were going to change and they didn't. So that's another thing we look for in terms of, this is probably not a good fit for us as a company. So again, a lot of these have to do with like culture and personality and your kind of work habits, not so much your skills, right? I think that's the one thing that's relatively easy to improve and change is your skills. Like, I can teach somebody, I can help them get better and better and better, and people can learn. But it's the other things, right? The communication skills, the interpersonal skills, the emotional intelligence, the way that they talk to employees, the way they talk to partners, like, that's stuff that's very hard to change. And if somebody is rude or condescending or has attitudes, like, we just don't tolerate that, and it's not worth it. We can find plenty of people that are hungry, willing to learn, motivated, and good to work with and nice to work with.